provide the data source or the path of the database from our application. So in this code, I just wrote it directly in my code as a static string variable, which is not a good practice. So the alternate solution could be to use the configuration information from our database, and we can use this configuration information to write the connection information. So first of all, we should import the required dynamic link library, that is system.configuration. We need to check it and then click on OK so that we reference this configuration file. Once we import it, we also need to write using system.configuration so that we can use it in our application. And then in order to add a configuration file, we go to add and then you can search for file. Once you go to the configuration, this is what the application configuration file is. So I just create and keep the name as it is. And this is how the configuration file looks like. It is basically an XML file which consists of a configuration tag, and inside this configuration tag we use the app setting. So we are going to add a new app setting with a key and a value information. The key is basically the index that we are going to use, and the value is the value that we want to save. For example, here I want to keep the path of my database. So I just copy it and put it in the database, and in this value of app setting. And now I can read that value by using this key value. So this is what I put here as a constraint. The name of the key is constraint, so I will copy it and I will paste it here. So whenever I want to read the constraint, I will be using the app setting and the constraint as an index for this value, and it will return me the value of this key, that is constraint. So in this case, I put the database path. So when we want to read it, what it is doing is we are using the system configuration and then configuration manager dot app settings. So from the app settings, we are going to read the value of constraint, which is basically we have copied as the path of our database, SQLite database. So this is how we can keep the information of our connection string separate in a configuration file. This is a good practice because when we install the software, we cannot change the code. However, we can change the path of a database from this configuration file, which is a normal practice, which we can use both for web applications as well as for the desktop applications. So let us log in and check. So you can see that it is working absolutely fine, and it is connecting to my database, and it is also printing my grid view, for example. So there are two types of prints that I have used. One is with the print dialog, which shows the dialog, and then we can select it and then print it. And if it is not registered, you also notice that I used a data grid view that is shown whenever I write something in the department. So whenever I search it, and then I can select one of the department. And once I select it, you can see it is written. And these forms are connected. Even I can add a new one. So just added new one. I can refresh it, and as you can see, I can delete it, and it says, "Are you sure?" And then we click it. So this is how these are connected with each other. So different forms I have connected. Basically, the idea is to, you can see that this is not a form with the border. I just created this panel box and I write code myself to drag and drop this uh, full form from one place to another place. So this is something that I did in order to make a consistent look for my Windows Forms application. So it's up to you. If you want to give a consistent look, you can use the default windows or forms, or you can design your own. So these buttons for closing, maximizing, minimizing, all are designed by, for example, I put the buttons here. So this is a simple button. It's not the default button provided by the Windows form. So this was an interesting thing that I wanted to show. So whenever we are changing it, when we write the text, keep writing, so it displays the grid view. And once I select something, then it automatically selects the department name, and then we can see all the list. And once we select it, it just hides away. So this is how I did it. The code will be shared with you, which has already been shared on the campus system. You can check its code behind what has been done. Okay, so now let us see how we can print something using a print option, and then you can print here to print the document. So another option is to use the print dialog, which will display a dialog, and we can select different options and then print it. So let me close this one and I will show you the actual code. So this is the grid view which we are going to populate when show button is clicked. So let me show you on the print. The first thing that I make sure is the data grid view must have some data to show. So if the data grid view's data source is null, it means there is no data source available. I just return so that the empty grid view, I don't want to display it. And in order to print basically a grid view, we need to create an image. So we just created a bitmap image, as you can see, and the size of bitmap should be equal to the width and the height of our data grid view. So as you can see in the constructor, we provided data grid view 1.width and data grid view 1.height. So this image is equal to the size of our grid view. And then using the or we can also get the exact height of our data grid view. In this case, in such a case, when we have a big grid view and if there are less number of rows. So I'm not going to do this right here. You can try it with yourself. So I'm just printing all the data grid view just to show you how we can print it using print and a print dialog. So this is just for your convenience. If you want, you can make the calculation of the row count into the row height. So I'm just commenting it right now. Once we create a bitmap, we need to draw our grid view into this bitmap. So we are using the data grid view one dot draw to bitmap. So we are writing our grid view into this bitmap, and then we are providing the first parameter is where we are going to draw it, and the second parameter is the rectangle, that is the size of the image that we want to write. So this is the print and document one, which you can drag and drop from the toolbox. First, you need to drag and drop this print dialog or the print document from the toolbox if you want to print the document. So I drag and drop the print document, and I will also show you print preview dialog as well. So simply just we are creating a print preview dialog.document, which we want to print is print document one, which I just drag and drop it. And once we set the document, as you can see here, print document, which we are going to print the document. And you can also set the zoom level, in which I did not change the zoom level, I just keep it as 1, and then I show the dialog. So it is just like for any other dialog, we show the print dialog, so it will display the dialog in front of us. So once we run it, and let me show you which one it is doing. So once we show and print it, so this is the dialog. This is what we mean by this is shown once the show dialog method is executed. And from here you can print the dialog and get the results. So in the once the printing starts the print document underscore print page. So we just call this method, as you can see when we go to the properties, and in the events there is one event, that is print page. This event is always called when we call the print function. So this event is what we are doing, is that we are writing this whatever the object we are receiving as an event argument, then we are drawing on the graphics, and then we are just drawing the image. So this is the bitmap image that we just created previously. That's why I created a global variable for this class, so that we create the object and use it in the print method. So here we create the object, and here we draw it actually. So we draw that image of our grid view at these locations, that is from X and the Y location. So these are X and Y coordinates, upper left corner. So it starts drawing from this location. And the another option is to show a print dialog, preview dialog. So in this case, we can create an object of print dialog. We can create the object of print document, and we can give optionally a name. And here we are give the same document that as we have used earlier. So you can see here we have created a print document one. So for print preview, we are also using the same object. This allows is equal to true, means it allows it shows the allow selection button in the dialog, and also it shows the allows some pages dialog. And we also don't want to use this extension dialog, so just I commented. And now once we click on OK, we show the dialog, so it will show the print dialog, and if the result is OK, then we are calling the print method. Once we call the print method, it will just go to this print document underscore print page document, and then again draw the graphics that we have just created. So now you will see the difference between these two once we show the objects, and now once we print the print, it just shows this preview dialog. And when we say print document, and then you can see it shows a different dialog. So we can select the printer available, or we can print with PDF, or whichever you want. And then you will click OK. For example, in this case, if you want to print as a PDF, you can also do the PDF printing and click OK. So this one will essentially generate a PDF. So you can give a path for the PDF and then click OK. So it will automatically create that PDF for us. We can, so this is important for now uh, creating an installer for our project. So we want to install our project. The first thing that you need to do is from extensions menu, you need to go to this dialog and then write the installer. So Microsoft Visual Studio installer projects, you need to download it since I have already installed it. So this green check shows that I have already installed it. If you have not installed it, you need to go from the Visual Studio's main menu. There is an extensions, and from extensions you can go to the tools, and then this manage extension dialog box will appear, and then you can search for the installer and you can install it. Once you make the project, install the project in Visual Studio 2019, it is time to add the new project. So right click on the solution, go to the add and then new project, and here you can search for the setup project. So once you select the setup project, there is a setup project, there is another project that setup wizard. I will show the basic setup project, and you can click next, and I just give it name as setup. And here you can see application folder and the users uh, desktop user program menus. So I am in the setup project, so we are going to into this application folder. Here you need to right click, go to the aid and print output. So the primary output, that which documents, which DLL, which executable files are, which are part of this executable file you want to copy during the installation. So you can see that these are the basic files. So for example, if you want to make a copy of this into user's desktop, you can just copy the primary output and then copy it into users. Maybe we can also add this an icon here into the folder, and then we can use this icon for setup. So here I am going and going to select the icon into the application folder and select it and then click OK. And you can give a name for the author, whichever you want. So this is the basic information about your software that you are going to install. So I'm writing Visual Programming Group. This is the author. There are some information if you want to add, we need to add it here. And if you want to give some description about your software, you can get it. And I'm saying that install for all users, okay. And who is the manufacturer? I'm just updating it. And some other things that we may require, for example, the product name, you can change it. I just put it as setup, and where you want, which platform you are going to install, all these information, basic information we have provided, and that's it. And remember that all these required DLLs must be here. So I'm going to add one DLL here. Basically, that is in the debug. Inside the debug, there is a file interoperability. So I just added because this is required by my computer. So you can add any of the files that you want or any of the folders that you want. You can add them by selecting here. So for now it's enough. So I'm going to build the project. First time it will take some time, and let's wait. once the building is completed, our setup project will be ready for installation. So you can install from here also, but I will go to the folder. It has successfully created a setup project for my software. So let us go and see, go to the debug. So this is the setup file that it has created. So double click on this setup file and we will try to install our newly set up created project. So I'm going to use the administration rights. Click next and maybe I can change the path. So instead of installing it into C, so you can see this is the description that we have added, the author name. So let us remove this path and update it to D folder or F folder. So this is the path where I want to install it. And let's say it is just for me. And next, next, and then close it. So let us check if it has been installed. Can I see it? So you can see there is the shortcut also available in the programs folder. So this is how my application is running. So even it is logging it successfully, and our setup is working perfectly fine for the software. This is how we create the setup. So the interesting thing that we have done is we use the projects. Let's go and see what is inside our. So this is the folder where we have installed. So this setup. So there is a config file. So this is important. So when we say the go to the configuration file, now without changing the code, we can change the path of our database. So simple. So we don't need to change the code. And this document can be used for changing the database. For example, if I copy my database from here and let's say I change this one's name to test, for example. So I don't need to change the code because code is also not available after installation. The only thing that I have right now is the configuration file that I can change, but not the code that I can change. So I change that one to sms.db. So this is how it is working.